emotions had an echo in so much space. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? I remember when I lost my mind. There was only some place and I felt that place. Even your emotions had an echo in so much space. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy?
And good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you're on and what time zone you are in. I am Skeptically Speaking.
And I am Sweet Pea from across the pond.
And what a show do we have today? It's never ending. It's a great topic of discussion. The White MAGA shooter problem. I just love it. And if you would like more independent media in your ears and in front of your face, please, if you want more independent media in your life, consider supporting the show. You can support us on Cash App, Venmo, or Patreon. Links will be in the description. You found us on YouTube. You can also find us on TikTok, Bluesky, Discord, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Kick, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, and now Substack. There's also a new YouTube channel you can discover our content on. It's Triple D. D stands for debate. And we'll be hosting politics, we'll be hosting philosophy, we'll be hosting all sorts of things. Yeah. So check us out. Become an early subscriber. It's a fresh, brand new YouTube, just started, so we look forward to seeing you there. Become part of the family. How are you, Sweet Pea?
I'm tired, but otherwise okay. How are you doing?
Well, I got my Gatorade and my ice cube trays that I got from the TikTok shop came in. So now I've got little ice. Little ice squares. Yes, that's how we roll.
Adorable.
Yeah. And I have also got more trays coming in. They're circular, spherical ice, and it'll be pure ice because the way the trays are shaped is as the water freezes, there's a hole at the top of the mold and it pushes all of the gases out. So when you get these out of the tray, they're going to be pure ice, no gases.
Air bubbles? Air bubbles?
Edibles. Air bubbles, correct? Did you say air bubbles?
Yes, air bubbles.
Yep, no air bubbles. It'll be no cloudy. You know how you pull your tray of ice out of the freezer and it's cloudy in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
That's your atmospheric gases from your freezer and fridge. All the scents and smells get trapped in the water and it freezes it. That's how sometimes your ice will have that weird taste to it because it's got all of the freezer and fridge
Bubbles.
odors trapped therein. But the way these are formed is it pushes it all out before it freezes into the ice. Anyway, there's some ice trivia for you. And I also have a nice big mold in the freezer. And I'm able to freeze these solid spheres, ice spheres. So, and it fits just inside this glass. Big, huge ball.
Brings a new meaning to blue balls.
Big balls of ice.
Okay.
All right. I mean, that's as funny as we get here because, oh my God.
It does, though. Don't you think? Brings a new meaning to blue balls.
Nope. Well, if I freeze Gatorade, they will be blue. I will literally have blue balls of ice.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Hey, maybe you
moving
can
on.
do green ones.
You could do any color you want. Any color you want. All right, moving on. Now, as we know, MAGA is literally just obsessed with looking manly and manly and manly and tough. And oh, I want you to hear Pete Hegseth's address to the troops this past week. Tell me what you think.
Fat troops. No more beardos. The woke department. It's a bad look. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position. Welcome to the War Department, because the era of the Department of Defense is over.
Thanks, Coach. Gave me goosebumps. Were you not inspired by that speech?
What in the unseasoned dollar store G.I. Joe was that?
You want to see how Pete Hegseth trains? Yeah.
I think I'm going to be sorry.
We've
Yeah.
got video for you. Yes, indeed. Take a look. And I couldn't play the sound because of the music in the background. I don't want to get a strike. Here's a woman at home, literally ripped to shreds. This is how you do a pull-up. And then that's sped up. Not this pathetic whatever that was. Here's another video. I can't do it. And then here she is at the gym. Boom. 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 Nailed it. That is a chin-up. That's how you do chin-ups. I'm sorry. Oh my God. The Benny Hill theme song should have been playing with that. There you go. There's your tough guy. There's your guy from the War Department. Boy, doesn't he just look absolutely tough? Doesn't he just look, just totally ripped, buffed, and aren't you inspired by that? I mean, that's just brilliance. I just love it.
He's about ready to take a nap. That's how energetic he looks.
Yeah. Well, we don't have good news. I mean, we don't have a happy topic to talk about today. Although we do have we'll have some good news sprinkled therein. But I wanted to talk about these MAGA shooters that we have today. So this doofy fuck just above me was arrested for threatening to shoot up a gay nightclub. Let's see. A Texas man. Well, of course he is. A Texas man has been arrested for threatening to shoot up oh no, it's even worse, Pride Parade as payback for Charlie Kirk. These are the morons that we're dealing with today. Absolute fucking morons. Yeah. This asshole literally shot up a restaurant that was on a riverfront and killed several people. this moron, this fucking ass, literally drove his truck into a Mormon church, busted through the front doors, had gasoline with him, lit the church on fire, and shot several people. Yeah, apparently he's got some anti-Mormonism. I mean, shit, I'm anti-Mormon, but motherfuck, that's taken it to
that's
a
just
whole new
vile.
level. I mean, I'm anti-Christian, you could say. And we don't have a graphic for this, but there was an ABC station shooter who left an ominous note. So this fuckwit shot up a ABC affiliate in Sacramento, California, left a note suggesting he was angry with Attorney General Pam Bondi and other members of Trump administration for hiding files on sex offenders. Files talking about the Jeffrey Epstein case. In an amended criminal complaint filed on Monday, FBI officer Kyle Roberts said there was probable cause to believe that Anibal Hernandez Santana, 64, fired multiple gunshots at ABC 10 offices on the 19th of September. According to the complaint, a search of Hernandez's Santana's vehicle uncovered a handwritten note referencing Epstein. Quote, for hiding Epstein and ignoring red flags, do not support Patel Bongino, AG Pam Bondi. They're next. CK from above. Charlie Kirk. So he's referencing Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk from above. That's what that's about. Defense attorney Mark Reichel told KCRA that he was representing Hernandez. The attorney questioned whether Hernandez had been charged with additional crimes after investigation discovered he was critical of President Donald Trump's administration on social media. If you look at his social media, they're going to say, boy, it sure shows that he's a liberal and left-wing. So you think they're going to overlook something like that? I don't think so. First of all, no, he's not liberal. If he's a Charlie Kirk fan, he's not liberal. I don't give a damn. And I guess there's more. We have more details of the Michigan church shooting. Fucking unbelievable.
It's
A woman
heartbreaking.
who was confronted by Michigan church gunmen says she instantly forgave him for killing dad. Yeah, okay. See, this is why we have this permissive attitude. Well, it helped that the shooter was white. You know, I think that helps in the forgiving process, doesn't it? But this is definitely a white problem. We've got a white people problem, and we need to get our heads extracted out of our asses. This is from LGBTQ Nation. Quote, God sent the shooter. An anti-LGBTQ plus church protested Charlie Kirk's memorial. So another white supremacist Christian nationalist group is protesting Charlie Kirk's memorial, saying God sent the shooter. Members of the infamous Westboro Baptist Church. Of course. Isn't it always? They protested the public memorial service for murdered MAGA influencer at State Farm Stadium in Glendale in Arizona last Sunday. Kirk was shot to death, blah, blah, blah. Best known for holding large signs saying God hates F-slurs. They also say God hates America. God hates your idols. Wow. Charlie Kirk is no hero. There are no heroes. Okay. Sin breeds violence. God sent the shooter in fury. America is doomed. Wow. That's... In a brief TikTok video, someone asks two of the protesters why they're demonstrating at the memorial. One replies, God has sent us. Another says, all these people have come here to worship a dead man who didn't preach Christ, who was taught this world the satanic lie that is free will, as if people in general can choose to serve Christ. The Father has to draw you to... Okay, so they are predestinationalists. They believe in predestination. Basically, you cannot turn to God, only God can turn you. So that means, and see, this is what makes this cult just that much more dangerous, is they believe they are the chosen few who God has called, and everyone else is doomed. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter how much they pray. It doesn't matter how much they read the Bible. If you are not of the chosen, you are doomed to hell. Thoughts?
Sounds a bit like Minority Report, except with religion.
What is amazing to me is the conclusions they came to.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Minority Report where the crime is predestined and then it gets told and then by the precogs? So
basically, they're
this religious
solving
group-
crimes. Yeah, they're solving crimes before they are even committed.
Yeah, and this religious group sounds like that on a predestined course that they think is already like set in stone. That's wild.
What they did get right, though, is the worship of Charlie Kirk. That entire service was dedicated to the worship of Charlie Kirk. I don't give a fuck
It
what
was
anybody
sickening.
says. These people worship Charlie Kirk. He is like he is like a second version of Jesus to them. I mean, if they could replace Jesus with Charlie Kirk, they'd have done it.
I thought they said Trump was the second coming, but
well, he's getting older now.
These people can't seem to make up their minds, can I? I didn't personally watch Charlie Kirk's memorial, to be honest. I've
seen enough. I saw the pyrotechnics. I saw the pageantry. I mean, I felt insulted watching it.
Yeah, the only thing that I saw, and that was through other people doing clips making fun of Trump, was the face he was pulling while hugging.
I actually made a few videos about that.
Yeah, that is exactly how that I've just watched that bit. I haven't actually watched anything else.
Listen to what else they said. The announcement is also mentioned They also mention rank idolatry, filthy fornication, slaughtering unborn babies, and low-key sodomy, trannies, child groomers, and baby rapists. Ooh, they're getting close to MAGA with that one. The church is now deceit. We don't care where they came from. Blah blah blah. Marco Rubio said the return of Jesus will bring a new heaven and a new earth, a great reunion with Charlie. Ick. This is a spiritual war. And Stephen Miller promised to crush the unnamed enemies. Your own people are killing each other. A right-winger who thought that Charlie Kirk wasn't right-wing enough took him out. The Groyper movement is even further to the right than even Charlie Kirk was. Yeah, Kirk had a long history of animus toward the LGBTQ plus community and his Christian nationalist vision of the country. Particularly with transgender people, he characterized being gay as an error. Compared homosexuality to alcoholism and drug addiction, notoriously called for the stoning of gay people. Yeah, God's perfect law. This is what he has said. Yep, he's called trans people pure evil and a social contagion and abomination to God, and compared gender-affirming medical professionals to child-mutilating Nazis. Interestingly enough, the Nazis were the first group. First of all, transgender people were the first group that Nazis went after. I swear, these people are so dumb, deluded, and stupid. It's They can't see. They can't think past the ends of their own dicks. You know, it's like the lights on, no one's home. Moving on. Let's move on. Um, I'll read the good news later, but Marine veteran in custody after 3 killed, at least 8 injured in a shooting at the waterfront bar in North Carolina. Yeah, that's the one. This guy is a decorated war veteran, a 40-year-old Marine veteran who pulled up to a waterfront North Carolina bar by boat, fatally shot 3 people Saturday night, authorities say, shattering the peaceful atmosphere of a community rarely touched by violent crime. Out-of-towners were enjoying the warm weather and music on an outdoor deck of the American Fish Company in Southport. So it's a small, tranquil city near the mouth of Cape Fear River where gunshots rang out. 8 people were injured, and at least 1 victim is now clinging for their life. And so Nigel Edge, who received a Purple Heart for his service in Iraq, was arrested Sunday, charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Additional charges are still possible. Edge was taken into custody when the U.S. Coast Guard encountered his boat after the attack. Yikes. So, yeah. There have been at least 324 mass shootings this year alone. I mean...
That's just heartbreaking.
Yep.
That's absolutely disgusting. That shouldn't even be happening.
Yeah, so when I keep asking this question, when does a good guy with a gun become a bad guy with a gun?
2 seconds. That's all it takes, 2 seconds.
His original name was Sean de Bevoy, was featured in local news articles that discussed his service and his road to recovery from injuries he sustained. In the past several years, Edge had filed a string of civil lawsuits with rambling, sometimes conspiratorial claims. One lawsuit against the Department of Veteran Affairs was filed September 24th, less than a week before the shooting. So this guy was spiraling. So he has now since appeared in court. Let me see. I don't know if I have, I don't have the article queued up, but that's okay. Michigan church shooting suspect went on an anti-LDS tirade, political candidate said. So apparently this political candidate had a talk with this guy days before he went on a rampage. So Burton City Council candidate Chris Johns heard that someone shot churchgoers and burned down the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on September 28th in nearby Grand Blanc. He said not once did he think it was the man he spoke to while canvassing less than a week prior who went on a tirade against the church and described Mormons as the Antichrist. The man was outgoing, polite, and extremely friendly, and his animosity towards the church didn't seem violent. It was very much standard anti-LDS talking points that you would find on YouTube, TikTok, or Facebook. But John started seeing images on television and social media of law enforcement swarming the home he had just been to last week on East Atherton in Burton, and he had a bad feeling. And then he saw the man's photo circulating online. He said, "There's one thing you don't forget. This is not a forgettable guy." FBI has taken over the investigation as targeted violence after authorities say Sanford plowed his pickup truck and donned 2 American flags into the back of a small-town church, shot at hundreds of worshipers inside, burned the establishment down using gasoline. Improvised explosive devices were also found on scene, federal authorities confirm. At least 4 people were killed, 2 by gunfire, 2 others engulfed in the flames, and 8 others injured. There may be more victims as first responders finish clearing what's left of the church. As for Sanford, he was killed by 2 police officers 8 minutes after he began shooting. He said during news conference, He had 2 prior convictions of operating while intoxicated and burglary. So again, nothing. I mean, I don't know. Nothing about this screams a red flag as far as owning firearms. I think it's time we update our. Let's see. Well, gun reform, yes, but we need to update who is eligible to receive firearms. Yeah. FBI said Monday that they're still working to determine a motive. What? Really? Law enforcement has already interviewed over 100 people. Others have been quick to shoo Johns off their property while he was making his rounds. 22nd, canvassing for a seat on city council. Sanford shook his hand, thanked John for stopping by. They talked about their children. Jesus Christ. Sanford's son was the first baby to undergo an experimental therapy of a rare condition called I can't even say that. Hyperinsulinism in 2016. Hyperinsulinism. Detroit Free Press. You'll probably find that in the chat. Sanford asked Johns what he thought about guns, and the city councilman hopeful responded that he supports the Second Amendment. Okay. Then they got into Sanford's life story. It was one thing after another as he shared about his time in Iraq, his struggles with drug addiction when he returned home. He said he moved to Utah at one point to plow snow and had a relationship with a woman whose family was Mormon. Okay, so Sanford was married, property records show, blah, blah, blah. We've seen pictures of him and his wife online. Johns said Sanford asked him whether he believed in God. He responded yes. From there, the conversation takes a very sharp turn. And that's when he just goes off on a tirade against Mormonism. Yeah. Then and there's also a Trump Vance sign. Wow. Well, that's clear as day, isn't it? See if I can get it. But yeah, he's definitely a Trump supporter. And yet I don't see any of these MAGAs, saying, hey, we need to make sure that the mentally ill do not get guns. We got to make sure that the mentally ill do not get firearms. Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There needs to be new gun laws put in place. There needs to be new gun legislations put in place. There needs to be proper mental health checks. I reckon with at least 3 different people to make sure they are safe for having a gun. I also think there needs to be a longer hold on guns while these checks are being put into place. I don't think somebody should be able to go into a gun shop, buy a gun, and be able to go home with it that day unless they've had these preliminary checks done first. I also think that these checks should be done every 6 months or every year to make sure
they do
still
in Japan. Yeah, and
yeah,
they
just
also
to make
do
sure.
that in Wales as well.
I think it's every year. The police also are able to come to your house whenever they want to. They don't need a warrant. They can come anytime, day, night, when it's convenient for them. They will either knock on the door and you let them in, or if you don't answer, they will break the door down and just come in to check. The guns need to be kept separate from the ammunition.
What if you're not
in
home?
2 different locations? They'll still come in anyway. They need to make checks to see if the gun's there.
God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is why there is not. Yeah, this is why there's not a lot of gun owners in the UK, because it's not really worth the trouble from. It's not really worth the police just being able to like come in whenever they want, you know. Yeah. But yeah, proper things need to be put into place.
This is the problem we have in this country, where we equate manliness and gun ownership as linked and synonymous. I mean, it's gotten so out of hand that it's like you're not a real man unless you have a gun. You know, and you've got this, I mean, and then you add mental illness on top of that. Oh, by the way, this fuckwit over my shoulder here, this guy here, shot up a school. In fact, the same day, I believe this is the shooter, the same day that Charlie Kirk was killed. And he was spouting neo-Nazi propaganda and stuff like that. Yeah, we've got a Nazi problem in our country. Whether you wear an armband or you don't, whether you're that obvious, it doesn't matter. We have not expunged the Nazis in our midst. We've become permissible. We have become indulgent with these right-wing terrorists, and we need to call them what they are. These are domestic terrorists, and they need to be dealt with accordingly. I'm going to play a clip on America's Hitler. Real quick, I want you to give a good watch. Did you have any thoughts you wanted to add? Go ahead.
I think that word is pronounced hyperinsulinism. Hyperinsulinism, I think. Mm-hmm.
Oh, your guess is good.
I think that's how that's pronounced. I'm just guessing.
No,
I think it is, though.
That's all right. All right. Here we go. America's Hitler. Let's learn some history.
Nazism in the United States is nothing new. In fact, it was born in the 1930s with the German-American Bund, which grew to disturbing levels. Its originator, World War I veteran Fritz Kuhn, a German who moved to the United States in the 1930s and became a naturalized citizen, held a master's degree in chemical engineering. Their pro-Nazi agenda supported U.S. isolationism, avoidance of European conflicts for Germany's benefit. They were also anti-black, anti-non-white, immigrant, and naturally anti-Jewish. After Kuhn went to prison on tax evasion charges, the organization, which used to fill Madison Square Garden with giant...
For those who are watching, this is for educational purposes only. We do not condone or endorse any of the ideologies contained herein. This is for educational purposes only.
Portraits of not Adolf Hitler, but rather George Washington and other venues, had tens of thousands of followers, but they melted away. But after World War II, the American Nazi movement was resurrected by a World War II veteran who was perhaps even more radically bent than Kuhn, and who idolized Adolf Hitler. Who was George Lincoln Rockwell? What stimulated his interest in fascism? How effective was he? Hello, I'm Colin Heaton, former history professor, Army and Marine Corps veteran, and welcome to this episode of Forgotten History. George Lincoln Rockwell was born in Bloomington, Illinois on March 9, 1918, and was the oldest of 3 children of George Lovejoy Rockwell and Claire Rockwell. His parents were traveling vaudeville comedians and actors, and they divorced when Rockwell was 6 years old. So he spent his youth divided between his mother in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and his father in Boothbay Harbor, Maine. Rockwell attended Atlantic City High School in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and applied to Harvard University when he was 17 years old, but he was denied admission. Instead, his father enrolled him at the Hebron Academy in Hebron, Maine. Rockwell then enrolled at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island in 1938 as a philosophy major, where he met his future wife, Judith Altman, who was a student at Pembroke College. In 1940, he dropped out and accepted a commission in the United States Navy. Rockwell attended naval flight schools in Massachusetts and Florida and served in both the Battle of the Atlantic and the Pacific War in World War II. He served aboard the USS Omaha, USS Pastorius, USS Wasp, and USS Mobile as a support, photo reconnaissance, transport, and training pilot. On April 24, 1943, Rockwell married Judith, and they had 3 daughters, Bonnie, Nancy, and Phoebe Jean. Rockwell and his in-laws had issues, as Judith was not raised to be the docile and compliant wife as Rockwell expected. The marriage was marred with violent arguments, and on at least one occasion, Rockwell did strike his wife. After the war, Rockwell remained in the Naval Reserve, but worked as a sign painter out of a small shop that his father owned in Boothbay Harbor. Later, he entered the commercial art program at the Pratt Institute in Brooklyn, New York in 1946, so he and Judith moved there. Rockwell won the $1,000 first prize for his advertisement for the American Cancer Society, but he left Pratt before completing his last year, and he and Judith moved to Maine to start his own advertising agency. Rockwell, still in the reserves, was called back to duty as lieutenant commander at the beginning of the Korean War in June 1950. The family relocated to San Diego, where he trained Navy and Marine Corps pilots in both basic and advanced flight schools specializing in instrument training. It was during this time that Rockwell began reading old German propaganda, including Mein Kampf and the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and he was
I'm in charge of finance, but I can't be everywhere at once.
His devotion was increased due to the rantings of Senator Joseph McCarthy's openly hostile stance against communism, the anti-Semitism of carmaker Henry Ford, and famed aviator Charles Lindbergh's stance on race and avoidance of the USA having become involved in foreign conflicts, especially during World War II. Rockwell was stationed in Iceland on an unaccompanied tour as a Grumman F-8F Bearcat pilot and promoted to commander in 1952. Judith and the children remained behind with her mother in Barrington, Rhode Island, where Judith filed for divorce in 1953. Rockwell attended a diplomatic party in Reykjavik where he met Margaret Pora Hallgrímsson, the niece of Iceland's ambassador to the United States, and they married on October 3, 1953, by Pora's uncle, the Bishop of Iceland. They spent their honeymoon in Berchtesgaden, Germany, the location of Hitler's Berghof in the Bavarian Alps. The couple had 3 children, Hallgrímur, Margaret, and Evelyn Bentina. In September 1955, in Washington, D.C., he launched U.S. Lady, a magazine for United States servicemen's wives. The magazine incorporated Rockwell's political causes, his opposition to both racial integration and communism. The publication had financial problems, so he had then sold the magazine. However, he still aspired to pursue a career in publishing and was good at marketing. As Rockwell stated, quote, "When I was in the advertising game, we used to use nude women. Now I use the swastika and stormtroopers. You use what brings them in," end quote. Margaret's father was appalled by all of this and arrived in the U.S. in 1957 to bring her back to Iceland after he discovered that Rockwell was one of the most...
Russian bots use the same principle. They start Facebook groups and Facebook profiles of non-threatening, just very bland, blasé. Some of them deal in social issues. Some of them dealt in like movies, outdoors, sports. And then slowly but surely, once they started getting a fan base, they started introducing Russian propaganda. And this is all during, 2012, 13, 14, 15. And now that's when you had the rise of Trump. And it just ramped up from there. But yeah, using the same exact, you use what draws them in and then give them what the message you've been trying to give them all along.
Active racist in the United States. Margaret divorced Rockwell soon afterward, and she remarried in 1963. Rockwell returned to Washington, D.C. in 1955. He gradually became even more radicalized until, according to his biographer, Rockwell was on the farthest fringe of the right wing. In 1957 to 1958, Rockwell stated that he had dreams of himself meeting Hitler. Rockwell found support through Harold Noel Arrowsmith Jr., a wealthy heir and anti-Semite, who provided Rockwell with a house and printing equipment in 1958. And together they formed the National Committee to Free America from Jewish Domination. Rockwell's first demonstration was on July 29, 1950.
Dear Savvy.
In front of the White House, protesting President Dwight D. Eisenhower's decision to send peacekeeping troops to Lebanon during that country's brief civil war in 1958, which was called Operation Blue Bat. Rockwell and his supporters were already on the federal radar, especially when they specifically protested what they called Jewish control of the government. After the Hebrew Benevolent Congregation temple bombing in October 1958, the police raided Rockwell's home. There was never any evidence that Rockwell's people were responsible, but he was under suspicion. Journalist Drew Pearson was mainly responsible for bringing Rockwell to the forefront after writing an article describing how Rockwell and his followers dressed in uniforms, armed themselves with guns, and paraded at his home in Arlington, Virginia. In March 1959, Rockwell founded the World Union of Free Enterprise National Socialists, later renamed the American Nazi Party, and then even later renamed again as the National Socialist White People's Party, headquartered at his home at 928 North Randolph Street in Arlington, Virginia. Rockwell, always creative, published his Animal Farm parody, a poem, and the children's book, The Fable of the Ducks and the Hens, in 1959. On July 4th, 1960, again on the National Mall, Rockwell and his men were confronted by a mob and a riot ensued. The police arrested Rockwell and 8 party members. Rockwell demanded a trial, and instead he was committed to a psychiatric hospital for 30 days. He was released 12 days later and found mentally competent to stand trial, but nothing came of it. He then published a pamphlet titled How to Get Out or Stay Out of the Insane Asylum as a guide to those who may find themselves in a similar situation. As a result of his political activities, the Navy discharged Rockwell 1 year short of retirement, stating he was not deployable due to his political views. Rockwell later blamed the Jews for his being terminated. On January 15, 1961, Rockwell and his associates picketed the local premiere of the film Exodus at the Saxon Theater in downtown Boston. After Boston Mayor John F. Collins declined to deny Rockwell's group a permit, members of the local Jewish community organized a counter-demonstration of 2,000 protesters in response on the corner of Tremont and Boylston Streets. This action forced the police to converge on the theater and forced Rockwell into a police cruiser that took him to Logan International Airport, where Rockwell was then boarded onto a flight to Washington, D.C. In 1962, Rockwell planned a major rally to celebrate Hitler's birthday on April 20th, and he joined British neo-Nazi Colin Jordan in Gloucestershire, England, where they organized the World Union of National Socialists. In September, Rockwell awarded one of his members a medal for punching Martin Luther King Jr. in the face. This was when King was in Birmingham, Alabama on September 28, 1962, speaking to the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, attended by 300 people. He was attacked by 22-year-old Roy James, who was sitting in the 6th row. James rushed forward and hit King in the jaw and then again in the neck. Rockwell approved of the attack. During the 1964 United States presidential election, Rockwell was a write-in candidate, receiving 212 votes.
Dear Savvy.
1965 Virginia gubernatorial election, receiving 5,730 votes, or 1.20% of the vote, finishing last among the 4 candidates. Rockwell then returned to organizing protests on the National Mall in Washington and at other sites, espousing his twisted beliefs and hatred across the country. This was also when he started his publication, the National Socialist Bulletin, later renamed the Stormtrooper magazine, in honor of the German publisher Julius Streicher, who had published Der Stürmer, which was the official anti-Jewish and anti-communist Nazi Party publication under Adolf Hitler. The American Nazi Party wore the uniforms and marched with Nazi flags down American streets. But Rockwell was also flexible. He assisted the Ku Klux Klan in organizing civil rights protesters, one more reason the feds took an interest in him. Ironically, Rockwell was a very outspoken Holocaust denier, and he once told a reporter, "I don't believe for 1 minute that any 6 million Jews were exterminated by Hitler. It didn't happen." Rockwell also called Adolf Hitler the white savior of the 20th century and believed that Martin Luther King Jr. was a tool for Jewish communists desiring to rule the white community. He blamed the civil rights movement on Jews and viewed most of them as traitors. When the Freedom Riders became active in the civil rights movement, Rockwell then created his Hate Bus, a Volkswagen minibus decorated with racist slogans and imagery that he drove around the country to rallies. This was when the BBC referred to Rockwell as the American Hitler. Rockwell advocated for the deportation of all blacks to Africa, such as to Liberia, and funded by the U.S. government. He also believed in racial segregation and white separatism, and he agreed with Elijah Muhammad and the early Malcolm X of the Nation of Islam, both men preaching the same thing. Rockwell spanned the nation, speaking at rallies and universities, leading demonstrations, and debating notable black activists, such as Black Panther founder Stokely Carmichael. Rockwell also coined the term white power in 1966 as a response to the Black Power movement. In the summer of 1966, Rockwell led a counter-demonstration against Martin Luther King, fighting segregation in the white Chicago suburb of Cicero, Illinois, believing King was a tool for Jewish communists who wanted to integrate America. In November of 1966, the American Civil Liberties Union once again represented Rockwell, defending his right to stage marches or parades in Jewish neighborhoods during Jewish holidays. Rockwell believed that integration was a Jewish plot to rule the white community, and soon came to believe that the Klan was stuck in the past and ineffective in helping him wage a modern racial struggle. Rockwell aligned his group with other neo-Nazi groups around the world as part of the World Union of National Socialists. On August 25, 1967, the 49-year-old George Rockwell was shot and killed in Arlington, Virginia by former Nazi Party member John Patler. Patler was the editor and cartoonist for the Stormtrooper magazine, whom Rockwell kicked out of the party for alleged Bolshevik leanings. Patler had changed his name from John Patselos as a homage to Adolf Hitler. Rockwell was at the Dominion Hills Shopping Center while trying to do his laundry. As he went to his car to get bleach, Patler fired from the rooftop of the shopping center. Patler was arrested half an hour later after throwing his gun into 4 Mile Run nearby, when he was spotted with wet trousers waiting for a bus by a police officer. Hearing of his son's death, Rockwell's 78-year-old father said, I am not surprised at all. I've expected it for quite some time. The Commonwealth's attorney pushed for Patler to receive the death penalty, but he only received a 20-year prison sentence, and he was released on parole after just 8 years. Patler then violated his parole and received an additional 6 years in jail. Upon Rockwell's death, he was succeeded by his second-in-command, Matthias Kuhl, who led the organization until his death in 2014 and had renamed the group the New Order in 1983. Kuhl relocated its national headquarters to Wisconsin. Another former associate, William Luther Pierce, founded the National Alliance, and he also wrote the racist dystopian novel The Turner Diaries, which became a Bible for future generations of would-be domestic terrorists. Many additional neo-Nazi groups were formed over the years, such as the Aryan Brotherhood, Aryan Nations, since Rockwell's death. Some of them were formed by his followers, and other groups were formed by newer generations of white supremacists. Most of these groups have simply died off and become irrelevant. It is quite ironic that during Rockwell's long tenure as head of the American Nazi Party, that his group never really became involved in overt violence, although they preached it, but they were suspected of a couple of bombings, arsons, and robberies. However, nothing was ever proven. Thank you for watching this episode.
Well, did you catch the part where he was shot and killed by one of his followers? What does that remind you of?
Charlie Kirk.
The first thing that came to my mind. Except in this case, the shooter for Charlie Kirk wasn't a follower, but he was of like mind, just further to the right. And Nick Fuentes, the leader of the Groyper movement, has bragged about having shooters in his camp. He said, Charlie Kirk has donors, I have shooters.
Gross.
Make of that what you want. But he has been on record. He isn't on camera saying that shit. They're killing their own. Yep. And we've got Homan, the head of ICE. He's guilty of taking bribes, and we think there's enough evidence to convict him. Apparently, people that were in the know leaked that information. But yeah. Hey, you want to see ICE trying to kidnap a Mexican DoorDasher?
I hope they get beaten, but yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
ICE, I mean.
Yeah, there it is. So they literally ran past a white bicyclist just to get the brown skin bicyclist. This is where we're at in this country. Anybody who looks like they could be an immigrant is going to be detained. Wow. And guess who's helping them? These fuckwits right here. This is Sheriff's Night. This is a photo by a police department. I can't read it. Highway Patrol, Law Enforcement Community, Thin Blue Line. It says, we are just like you. We are spouses, parents, brothers, sisters. We have children and friends. We have names, hobbies, dreams. We wear a uniform, but we are people too. We aren't that different, me and you. We are just like you. What do you think about that? Do you find that to be true?
No, I really don't. I think that's the furthest from the truth. That is like trying to mix oil and water together.
This was my response.
There is no comparison.
I couldn't help. I had to open my fucking mouth. Of course I'm going to say something.
All right,
I say...
Let me read. Can I read?
Go ahead.
Can I read? So you said you swear to protect and serve, and then you view the community as your all personal body, space, and every civilian as a possible combatant. You're nothing like us. Well said. And then you also put in, no, you're not. You're nothing like us. I see a bunch of thugs with guns and badges who will. No, you've put an emoji there. I can't quite see what that emoji is for. Who will shoot my dog and lie on police reports? Is that what that is? Is that what that emoji is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
Yep.
yes. That's better.
Next time what I should do is just say shoot, but space each letter. Yeah, these are the same thugs that are helping ICE, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Personal battle space. Okay. See, now, this is why I need to wear my reading glasses.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's
Thank you
just,
for letting me read that.
I mean, my God, these people are the worst of the worst. They're not protecting and serving.
I
No,
know.
you're not just like us.
No,
These are
they're
the
really
same
not.
people that would put a gun in your hand if they shot you and you were unarmed. You would become armed. This is the shit that they pulled.
Oh, well, they've done that. I can't even, like, an insurmountable number of times corrupt police officers have set up innocent people
Mm-hmm. Yep.
for crimes that they haven't done. There is many innocent people that are currently in jail battling for their lives to try and prove their innocence because they've
Yeah.
been set up by corrupt
And
police.
some of them are just now getting out of jail, serving life sentences. Some of them have been on
Yep.
death row. Some of them were they were literally going to die in jail. And they're finding out, oops,
Mhm.
well, it looks like the evidence that was brought forward didn't really convict them. It wasn't actually evidence at all. Who knew?
There was a man who was actually sentenced to death, and it got proved that he was innocent. But they had already sentenced him. They had already carried that sentence out, and
I think I
there is
remember
no
that.
reparations.
2
Yeah,
years
there is
ago?
no reparation. Yeah, there is no reparations or no, not compensation money that can ever make up to his family for the sheer miscarriage of justice that was carried out. For the life of me, I cannot remember his name because, yeah, it was 2 years ago. I signed petitions, I shared petitions, I done everything like in my possible power from where I am to like try and help.
Right. Yeah,
Just,
I mean, it's just
they wouldn't
our
listen. They
our
wouldn't listen.
justice system is beyond fucked. It's fucked beyond repair. I mean, it's just we are a bloodthirsty country. We would rather send a innocent person to the electric chair
Mhm.
just to give the illusion that we're tough on crime and that we take care of criminals.
I think there was a number to phone that you could actually phone. I called that a number of times, pleading for his case to be looked at, he's innocent, they need, not carry that sentence out. And it's just nothing helped.
Yeah.
It's devastating. It's disgusting.
And there's an old joke that police. There's a reason why police don't participate in shirts off calendar. where they donate their pictures to put on a calendar so that they can sell them. You know, like the fire.
Oh, they do that over here.
Yeah.
They do that over here with the firemen.
Yeah, firemen. There's a reason why police don't participate. It's because of all that white power, white nationalist, and racist tattoos that they have on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, used to be a source. It used to be a
I mean-
source of condemnation, but now, yes, everything's permissible.
I have to say that I've never seen any of the police calendars here, but I may or may not have seen a few of the firemen's calendars.
Yeah.
But I plead the fifth.
Would you like to hear some good news?
Yeah.
Remember that all-white community, the Jonestown, Waco, Texas compound that they were fixing to build? Well, apparently, it may not be happening. Take a look.
When this shit just keep getting better and better, y'all. So y'all remember the all white town in Arkansas that they was building, right? For all the white people who didn't want to be around us to come. I'm sorry. I mean, okay. So you mean to tell me it didn't work out for y'all? Yeah, not sundown. Well, you might as well call it a sundown town because they was trying to make it an all-white town. But it failed, y'all. It failed. You can't make this shit up, bro. You can't make this shit up. I swear, y'all are the best entertainment we ever fucking had. I swear. Y'all only did that because y'all thought that shit was gonna really piss us off. We was really gonna be like, oh, they don't want to be around us. They trying to make a sundown town. Oh, they're trying to make another all-white town. And here it is. It failed. I guess didn't nobody want to come live with y'all, huh? Whew. It sucks to be y'all, don't it? I'm loving it. I don't know about nobody else, but I'm loving it. And I'm going to keep on putting this shit in y'all face, and I'm going to keep on pissing y'all off because it's fun. It's fucking fun. It is. But see, we got a reason to do it. Y'all didn't. Y'all just was doing this shit just because y'all are some evil, nasty motherfuckers. But karma's a bitch, ain't it?
Yeah, so apparently they might have to move out to either Missouri or Wyoming. Or Montana. I don't know, some other Midwest mayonnaise state. But apparently they're facing legal troubles and also financial troubles. So this is called Return to the Land. By the way, what was the name you wanted to mention?
Marcel Williams. He was completely innocent. Marcel Williams. He was framed. He was framed for murder in Missouri.
And what year was he executed?
I think was it. I think it was 2020.
Anyway, yeah.
The
same people that fled to this whites only town are the same ones who they're more than willing for a innocent black man to be executed for crimes he did not commit. These people are sick. These people are twisted. And I, for one, cannot wait for the day to where they are officially labeled a domestic terrorist group. I cannot wait. So we're going to keep watching this space for the return to the land racist isolationist community. I don't want to say gated because gated community implies wealth. These people have none of it. As a matter of fact, they're finding just how hard it is to have a whites only without cooperation from black people and other various people of color.
Yeah. It's just
Who knew? Who knew? Who among us? Come on. Anyway, we want to thank you so much for joining us on the Skeptically Speaking podcast. If you would like to have more independent media in your life, we would like to recommend ourselves. We want to be that independent media. You can support us on Cash App, Venmo, and Patreon to keep the show going. Any parting words?
Yes. Marcellus Williams was wrongfully executed September 2024 for crimes that he did not commit.
Yeah, I remember.
I had to look that up. Yeah, I had to look that up. Sorry.
America's shame.
Yeah.
You know what? Send me the link, and we should include that in one of our shows.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 2 links.
Yeah, that's okay. Send me both of them. That's fine. All right. With that being said, we want to thank you so much for joining us. We will see you all on the flip side. Take care, everybody.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.